There were times where I was in a fetal position on the floor, crying my eyes out, like how I'm going to pay my rent, you know, like so much healing had to take place because I did not trust. And I saw over and over and over again how God provided. And yet I still would not trust. I mean, it was a brutal breaking me down to get me to trust in the masculine and in source.
Welcome to Fortune and Romance with your host, Taylor Fortune, and...
Yay, Shay. Good, and you?
All right, today on the podcast, we have spiritual architect. You heard that right, spiritual architect, Jenn Edwards. Jenn, how's everything going today?
I'm doing amazing, and I'm super excited to be joining you guys.
Us too. So let's kick this off. I always like to, kind of be a little provocative from the start. So why don't we start it off, Jenn? Tell us something a little bit dark about yourself. Tell us something that you don't normally tell people, just in passing. Let's dive into kind of a deep secret that you want to expose right now.
Wow, what do I
Yeah.
Oh, like way to come out. I know, like way to come out of the gates. Gosh, what do I want to expose? How about you go first?
I was gonna say, you want to think about it while BA dives
Yeah,
in?
you go first, and then I'll come back around.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to I don't know if I have any secrets right now. I haven't had the time to really do anything crazy, to be honest with you. My work schedule is crazy right now. So I haven't had time to get into trouble, you know what I mean? But I mean, if I had more time, I'm sure I'd have a crazy story to tell you all. The craziest thing okay, I'll give you something quick while she's thinking. So
there we go.
Here we go. Round them up, round the troops up. So, so I got out of work and I live in Boston. So we have new mandates as of 2 days ago. Woo! Yeah. So we have mandates where we can't go into restaurants, we can't go into gyms, we can't go in anywhere. And I work in a high-end mall in Boston. I work in a high-end store. I won't say the name because I don't want to talk about it on camera. But I work there, and usually after work, I like to go to a specific restaurant after my shift and kind of wind down and just let you know what I mean, have a glass of wine or 10, and just kind of just chill. So it was kind of funny. So today, when I got off of my shift, I was in the mood for, this place has amazing salmon. I love fish. So I was like, I called and I'm like, okay, I want to order some food. I had a feeling I was going to have to order it to go because of my stance with the situation of the, what, and I couldn't go into the physical restaurant. So I said to them, do I have to show you any proof of anything if I want to come in and get a drink? I don't know what it was, guys, but I was jiving for a drink after my shift today. I needed a shot of tequila. I needed something. Today was just Mercury retrograde times 1,000 for me. And I was just yeah. So I just everyone that came into where I work was just a nightmare. So I was jonesing. It sounds bad, I know, but I was jonesing. So I went to go pick up my food after I ordered it, and then I went to go in. I'm like, can I just grab a quick drink at the bar? And they asked me the question, can you show me your proof of da-da-da-da? I'm like, I can't. So I had to watch all the patrons at the bar, and I just wanted a drink, just one drink, and I couldn't get it. I got my food to go. I just ate it really quick when I walked in the house, but that was my day. It was a day from HE double hockey sticks. I just wanted a shot of tequila. I couldn't get it because of my beliefs, and I was sad.
But
that's not really a crazy story, but
I thought you had to show.
I do, but I couldn't have it in me to show it for some reason. I feel like it still went against my beliefs. I don't know. I couldn't explain it.
It was a principle thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does me too. Yeah. I want to go to Paris, but I won't because you can't do anything over there. And it's I'm not even going to get a fake one because why?
Yeah. It's we're giving into it almost by even having that, that's how I
Oh,
felt.
yeah, exactly.
Like, it would be the easy choice for me to be like this. I have it on my phone. I'd be like this. But then I'd be going against everything I believe in personally. So I'm like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it's like I felt like I was back in the days when I needed like a fake ID to like go into like a bar. I'm like, I'm 35. I don't want to deal with this again.
Yep.
I'm very legal to have a shot of tequila. Very legal.
And you know what, BA? You deserve it. You deserve it.
Yeah.
Busting my ass, damn it.
Yeah. Okay, so good way to break it open. But okay, Jenn, now we'll let you off the hook a little bit. So we got an icebreaker out there, but I want to talk to you more about your work as a spiritual architect, and that's what this is ultimately saying. Into just getting comfortable. I feel like all three of us need like a proverbial shot to just
yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Jenn, tell us a little bit about yourself.
What do you want to know?
Oh man, everything. So you and I have a lot of crossover in the kind of work we do. We come from a fitness background, spiritual coaching. All of our work, yours and mine, seems very grounded, whereas a lot of people in the spiritual community are really working. Let's just say some of it can be a little bit delusional. And I feel like you and I have been brought in, obviously separately, we don't work together, but to kind of ground people into changing their lives through realistic means. Do you want to just kind of take it over from there?
Yeah, like, I've talked about this before. I started talking about twin flames in 2019. It was 2018 that I was like in this dynamic with this guy that was just like such a douchebag and was in and out constantly. And it would always just trip me up. And I knew about anxious and avoidant attachment styles. Like I knew about those attachment styles. I knew about certain things with relationship. And I just thought that we just had a really like toxic dynamic, but sexually charged. Right. And that's exactly what it was. And so anyway, I just was like, I don't ever want to see you. This was like the end or the very beginning of 2017. This is like, I don't ever want to see you. I don't want to ever hear from you again. Nothing, like get out of my life. This is too hard. And then a year and a half goes by and we happen to be in the same city. And he reached out to me, found out I was there, and he reached out to me and he's like, I really have to see you. And I'm like, I can't say no. I can't, sorry. So we saw each other and after a year and a half and it all just bubbled up. And it was just like this like really amazing moment and time. And it was amazing for a few days. And then boom,
it goes back
into his triggers. Yes, back into his triggers he went. Fucked one of my friends, fucked another girl. I found out about it. I know. I was just like, wow. Oh my gosh. I am like, I was just so triggered. I was, yeah.
Hold on a second.
Yes.
Sorry.
BA's got questions.
Hold on. I need the floor for a minute.
Yeah.
Who are your friends to even engage?
First of all, she did not know. I give her, like, she's amazing. She had no idea. She had no idea.
She had no idea you knew him or what?
No. She knew I knew him, but she had no idea that we had a thing going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because I'm very private. I'm very private. So yeah, she had no idea. She's still an amazing person. He's that douchebag. Yeah, he's that douchebag.
Do you think he fucked this girl because he knew it was your friend?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's dark.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah.
Ew, you're gross. That's disgusting. What an asshole.
Yeah, he's that guy. Yeah. And then he went with one of her friends. Yeah. This is literally the level.
Oh my god. I thought my ex was bad. You take the you take the hate, honey.
This was like level douche bag.
Level douche.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that happened in 2018 and I was like, okay, I'm done. So I went through the healing process with that and then one of my healers
give us a line or two about the healing.
Yeah, I want to know about the healing process as well, Taylor. How'd you deal with that?
I think everybody wants to know about that.
So Okay, so at that point in time, I was still the girl that made excuses for that kind of behavior. Like, this is literally how delusional I was. I still made excuses for the bullshit. And so anyway, my healer, she was, working on me. She's like, I feel this is like a really strong twin flame energy. And I was like, no, this is not my twin flame. This is just a douchebag. She was like, well, I really feel like it's a twin flame energy. So look into it. So I started looking into it. I was like, no, this guy's just a jerk. Like, that's all it is. And like, he didn't know that I found out that he had slept with my friend. And he also didn't know that, because here's like how intuitive. I mean, this was even before I even knew I was intuitive and like psychic and all of that. So I was living in Denver at the time, and I went to the mountains, and I was like, I knew that he had disconnected his energy from me because I could feel it. And I was like, where did he go? Like, what happened? I came off of the mountain because I could go to this place in the mountains and I could manifest anything instantly from that place. Come off the mountain. And I was looking at Instagram, and it said, my guide said, go to this picture on his Instagram. It's like 1.5 years old. I was like, okay, so go to that picture, go to that comment, click that comment, and boom, all these pictures of him and this girl come up. I didn't even know this was the girl after my friend. That was her friend. All these pictures, I was like, is this recent? Is this now? Oh, yeah, this is actually happening right now. Okay, wow. Oh, okay. So yeah, so that's how I found out that he had done that. I know, right?
He's back, everybody. Oh, Jen's back too. Look at that.
That's how I knew he had done that. And so I was pretending like, oh, it's no big deal, blah, blah, blah. And then 11/11 of 2018, I was doing some spiritual work around 11/11 and doing some activations. And it was like, okay, yeah, this guy definitely is something. I don't know. I'll accept that he's my twin flame, but I do not accept that he's the other half of my soul. And I do not accept that I have to be with this person. I'm not going to lower my standards to that.
No.
And so I began to heal that part of myself, and I began to share it with people. I'm like, you guys don't have to, like, this does not have to be your one and only. Like, you don't have to end up with these assholes. You can heal this stuff and you can like get away from them. And so that became my message and the foundation. So this is like what Taylor was talking about. Like, we bring like a grounding, because so many people in the twin flame community are like, you're supposed to wait for them. You're supposed to be with them, blah, 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 blah. No. You do not have to be with these people.
Yeah.
You got to heal some things. And, oftentimes if you have drawn in somebody like that toxic and you play out these toxic dynamics, there's a lot to heal, but yeah, you got to heal that stuff. So
go ahead, Pia. I know you got some questions.
No, I'm just, pardon me. I'm just like relating to everything that you just said. So I dealt, and Taylor already knows this, we've talked about it in previous podcasts and privately. I dealt with something very, very similar, the twin flame dynamic. And, it was very traumatizing to me, what I went through with that person. And I'm pretty sure that he as well, behind my back, hooked up with, I don't even want to call them friends. They were karmic friends, I guess. And, they just were smiling in my face and talking behind my back. Those were the type of people that I'm talking about. And I know he did it just to almost like get back at me because I left him, and almost like he just wanted to like have that little notch in his belt. Like, oh yeah, I hooked up, like like in his head, in a sense, like it's my intuition, just like him and me knowing him. Like, oh, I hooked up with one of your friends. Ha ha ha. What are you going to do? Like, and I really don't give a flying F. I really don't. I moved on. I've like elevated my whole entire life. Like, I don't even give a shit about any of the stuff that he does. But it's funny because people still come at me and say like, oh yeah, but the things that I hear, it's kind of funny because I hear nothing but negativity that is going on with him. And I have nothing but positive things happening in my life. So it's kind of switched. It went from like here to here. I don't know.
It's wild. Like, I don't understand, like, maybe Taylor can like shed some light on, is this an ego thing with men that they are like you trigger me, so now I got to go sleep with someone so that I can get untriggered, you know, like what is that?
Yeah, it is an ego thing. 100%. It's needing validation in all the worst ways from like the wounded masculine energy. You know, it's really, it's low vibe shit. And it's disguised as alpha because they can go around with their fucking pack of loser ass friends and brag about their pathetic conquest, you know, and their friends will high five them for it, be like, oh, he's a man, he fucked her and like a couple of her friends. But the reality is that their motivations, they don't even know how, like, they don't even realize how far away they are from their own higher self, their own spiritual truth, their own life purpose in this life. They're just, they're so brainwashed by a false sense of masculinity on this planet. They don't even know where to begin for like what Jenn was saying, like the healing process. They have no idea. And there's no role models or anything like that. And, you know, outside of a select group of men in the spiritual community, they don't even have any like anywhere to look to begin that process. That's why I like to work with men and what I do, but very few take me up on it.
Yeah. There's so many men not like, there is a lot of men seeking, but there's a lot of men not seeking as well. And the thing of it is like, there's more women seeking than there are men. And the women that are seeking, like what happens to us is that as the higher in frequency that we go, the more that we elevate our consciousness, literally the more beautiful that we become. Like,
Yes.
Literally.
Like we are fucking hot bitches. And so these guys are looking at us like, can I like have, but I can't have, but I want, and like, how do I put this, you know? And so it's like they don't know what to do. And so then they run instead of like leaning into the discomfort of opening up to a spiritual woman who is going to see them.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. By the way, if you're not that spiritual of a man and you are watching this, we can already see you. We can see you already. Like you can't hide from women like us. You can't hide. We can.
It's crazy.
It is.
We see through you. We see through you. I see through people. I don't even want to see their soul because it's so damaged. But I'm like, I don't know. Once you get to that level where you're like confident in yourself and you've gone through so much stuff, you can see through people like no one's business. And you're almost like, when you get that glow up, I guess they call it, you're almost like sought after even more. And then you're just like so disturbed by everyone. I'm just like the guys that message me want to go out with me, I'm like this, ugh.
Yeah.
And I'm not being a bitch. I'm just like, you're like low vibe. Like I'm high vibe. I worked hard to get here. Like leave me alone.
Yeah. I know. Exactly. Yeah. I worked really hard to get here too. And so anyway, it's really wild to see the dynamics play out in, you know, like, cause we're in front of people, you know, I have a lot of followers on my Instagram. I go live and people see it and they're attracted to the light. They're like, oh, I want some of that. Like, I love that light. And I love her disposition and beauty and her speaking and way of being and her presence. And then at the same time, they're so fucking triggered by it. And instead of leaning into their trigger and saying, okay, I'm going to go seek some help around this, they go and do stupid shit, like sleep with other people that they don't even care about. And they're ringing people through like stuff. And it's really immature. It's really toxic and it's not helping anything.
Yeah.
Yep. Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's, you know, I mean, obviously, like, you know, if you want to sympathize with these dudes, there's a lot to, you know, society's a lot to blame in many ways because men equate how many people they slept with to how confident, how cool they are, how attractive they are, how much charisma and magnetism they have. And it's difficult. And I do relate to that because I was caught in that all through my 20s and all that, you know. You know, I probably was just a fuckboy back then. And like, it's tough now to look back and think that I would never say those are my values, but it was certainly like a pitfall that I got caught up in. Because, you know, I lived in San Francisco all throughout college, and it's just a really, you know, I guess like a cool vibe kind of town, you know, a lot of hipsters or whatever. You know, it's a really big dating scene and all that. But
college, Taylor. It's college. It's expected. It's
exactly.
Though. It's like kind of put on your big boy pants and big girl pants on.
Exactly.
Right. Now, here's the thing, though. Like Saturn return, come age 29, You know, it's just, I knew internally, even though I wasn't even that into spirituality or astrology at that time, outside of having been raised on some of this stuff, but intuitively I knew around the age of 28, 29, 30, that whole cycle of the Saturn return, I felt myself internally shifting, and that what was once something that I could have got away with by saying, oh, look at how cool I am, you know, I started feeling very shallow, very empty, very hollow, and I had nothing at that point in my life to fill my vessel yet, but I felt myself being depleted, but I had nothing to rejuvenate myself with yet. But a lot of men at that age, they feel that Saturn return and they don't know how to fill their vessel yet, so they kind of double down on that shitty womanizing lifestyle, thinking that, well, if I dive deeper into this, maybe that'll heal the void inside of myself, but it never does.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It creates a bigger void. You know, and it just separates so much more from like the really, really good women that are out there that are spiritual, because we're not gonna stand for that. Like, you got to raise your standard many different ways in order to be with us. And you know, like, it can sound a little bit like I'm being egotistical by saying that, but you and I both know we've worked hard to be the women that we are. Like, I am a completely different woman today than I was 10 years ago. Like, I just posted, you know, my 10-year like difference. And I look at the 2012 version of me, and she was stuck in a toxic marriage, and she was overrun and controlled by a narcissist. She did not know who she was at all.
She's like, oh, ding, 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 ding.
I met my soulmate.
Yeah.
Keep going, I'm sorry.
No worries. I mean, but yeah, she was just like this woman who did not know herself. And she finally had the courage to leave that marriage, which it did take me a lot of courage to do that, because I was so afraid. And, you know, like, I was in it. Like, when I got married, like, I was in it. When I'm in a relationship, I'm in it. And so I took such good care of my husband, even though he was such an asshole. And so my biggest fear was like, who's going to take care of him? Like, I do all this stuff for him. Like, who's going to take care of him? He's going to fall apart. And I was like, wait, what? Like, how is this my concern? I haven't been abused by this man for 6 years. Like, it's time for me to do something for myself. Like, this was literally the person I was in 2012. Somebody that would put up with that. And now this version of me today is like, I mean, so much more who I am. You know, there's still stuff that I'm healing. Like, there's still triggers that I feel. There's still, you know, like that being chosen and that enoughness stuff still is coming up in some areas of my life. And yet I just feel so like happy and loving of who I am today, you know?
Yeah.
It's such a different feeling, isn't it?
I
felt in a sense, like, during that period in my life, which was like 3 years ago, I felt like I was never good enough, because I was always put in competition. Even if it wasn't real competition, it was like a mental conflict where I was made to believe I was never good enough, when deep down I knew I was good enough, but I was like so psychologically abused that I was believing like, maybe I'm not deserving of love. Maybe I'm not deserving of this person. Maybe I'm just never gonna be good enough for anyone, even the person I'm with. And then I finally realized, I'm like, wake up, Beth Ann. Like, you're a bad bitch. You could do so much more. Like, what are you doing? You're like being a slave to this little bitch boy. Like, get your ass up, get out of here, and start a new life. And that's what I did, and I've never looked back.
Yeah. That's like where we have to get, you know? It's like, wait a second, how are we questioning whether or not we are good enough? Like, I had that recently where a man had come into my life, and we were kind of like communicating, and then all of a sudden he starts parading this other woman in front of me, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what happened? Like, what are you doing? First of all, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, it was just the most insane, bizarre thing. I was like,
what do you mean, though, Jen? Explain that a little bit. You were dating him, and then you find out he's dating someone else?
No. I was not dating him. We were getting to know each other. That was it. Yeah, that we were getting to know each other, and then he starts
you were talking.
Like talking.
Yeah.
But he's talking to me, and then he's posting stories with someone else. I'm like, wait a second. Like when you start posting stories, that means you're like in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You stop talking to all the other girls when you start posting stories and traveling with someone.
Right.
You're in it at that point.
When you're posting other girls on your story, whatever, you're
exactly. And you're traveling with them, you're in it.
You're having sex with them is what you're having.
Yes, exactly. You're in it. Yeah. So you stop talking to other people when that happens. And I was just like, wait, are you poly? Are you open?
Right.
Of course he isn't. Yeah. So I'm like, no. So anyway, yeah, it's just wild. It's bizarre.
Oh God, it's so hard to date nowadays. I just feel like there's so many different loopholes. And even if you like just meet someone and it's like the right person, the wrong time, it's like, do I wait for you? Do I like wait for you to get out of this? Like I know people that are dealing with that, and I'm like, I've dealt with that too. And I'm like, do I wait for this person? Do I just work on myself still? Like, I don't know. It's like you can meet certain people that you're a perfect match, but it's like they're either in something and you're in something, and then it's like, do you wait? Or you just keep going on with your life and then try to meet someone else. Yeah. I mean, life can be very confusing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, you keep going.
Yeah. So I've just learned to focus on my money right now. And if certain things in my life, whoever I'm dating are meant to be, it'll be. I've just let it go to the universe.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So. That's where I'm at. Good. And you?
Yeah.
So Jenn, tell us a little bit about, I feel like we kind of tapped into the healing thing. Maybe it was more than a line or two, but what do you work on with clients? Like, what do people book sessions? What is a spiritual architect? There you go.
So I do have clients. Okay. So there's different like ways to work with me. So I do remote sessions where I don't even talk to the person. I have a healing circle that I open up every day, and I put the soul in the healing circle. And there's certain things that I'm drawn to do in that healing circle. Yeah. And so, I'm clearing karma and agreements. I'm clearing stuff out of their channels, the clairvoyance channels, clairaudience channels, clairsentient, claircognizant channels, telepathic, kundalini, all of those, tantric. All of those channels get full of like low frequency. So I'm clearing those things out. That's a completely remote type of session that I do for people. I do also one-on-one coaching. So with that, it kind of depends on what the person needs. Yeah. So I have a client that went through a deep spiritual awakening. It's a man. And he went through a very profound spiritual awakening where literally everything was falling away from his old life. And he was having to build it new in real time, very fast. So I held him through that process. And that was not easy. It wasn't easy for either one of us. It wasn't easy for him because he's like, what the heck is going on? But it wasn't easy for me either because it's a very emotional process. So I held space through that process and helped, coached him through that awakening, and now he's doing really well. I feel like he's really making good strides, and he's going to do some amazing things this year. He's going to go do Fit for Service with Aubrey Marcus. And so that's just so awesome. I'm so proud of him for all the work that he's done and just really dedicating himself to that work, and I've held other people, other women in, transition with relationships and leaving a lot of leaving toxic relationships. Yeah. And then I have group programs where people come in and work through in a group level. And it's great because in a group level, you can activate collective energy. And so with the collective energy being activated, and what I'm teaching them is how to celebrate themselves, how to be in pleasure, and these simple things that we don't think about at all. And we lose touch with as we grow into adults, touching back in with the child inside. And so, that's what the architect is. It's looking at the patterns of your life and going, okay, this pattern doesn't work. Let's form new patterns. Let's do something different here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
Wow. So
Yeah, that's me.
are you met with like opposition with like, I mean, obviously they're coming to you, so maybe it wouldn't be
Mhm.
really so much opposition because they need guidance. So, but like, do
You'd
you
be
feel like,
surprised though. People come to you and still have a lot of resistance. But go ahead,
yeah,
BA.
no, yeah, no, Taylor. So like, do you have to like push them through that like roadblock, I guess,
Oh,
where,
yeah. 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 When, so it actually, they do come to me, but then like you were saying, there's a lot of resistance. And so, you know, you have to stand like as a coach, you have to be willing to be the person that they don't like for a minute. And that's a really difficult thing because you got to be willing to say the thing that they need to hear, not what they want to hear. You got to be willing to hold them accountable. You've got to be able to say, you know, if somebody's in a toxic cycle, why are you ignoring your intuition and choosing this person anyway? Your intuition already told you that this is not somebody you want to date. So why are you ignoring it? And it's like, you know, so
Why?
yeah.
What is the answer to that? I mean, I have my own theories. I know BA does too, but I want to hear it from you, Jen. Why do people stay
No,
in toxic relationships?
it's because there's a trauma bond there. A trauma bond is an aspect of the self that the energetics get stuck inside of the body, and it becomes a magnet. So that it magnetizes more of that same energy and more of that same experience to them. And what happens is that so if somebody has a trauma inside of them, then a healthy partner isn't going to feel comfortable. They're not going to be attracted to them. They're not going to feel as sexually charged as they would normally feel with somebody who's unhealthy. So when somebody's unhealthy shows up, it's like, oh, this is familiar territory. I know what this feels like. I know what this looks like. Oh, I'm so juiced up. Like I'm so turned on. I want this person.
yeah.
Whereas somebody that's like, I'll bring you flowers. I'll do for you. I'll meet your needs. It's like, yeah, but I'm like, I can't get wet from this one. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's on point. No. That is really on point, and just it's so true because I can relate to that in a sense where since I've elevated so much and I'm not in that low vibrational energy with that person that I was with before, where we knew each other and like we just were both vibing at that same level. Since I've elevated and that person is still at that low level, I could never go back to that because I'm not there anymore. So it's like I'm disgusted by it. So I need to meet someone at the same frequency that I'm at. So that's where I'm at right now. And it's almost, in a sense, it's confusing to me because I've met one or a few other people that are actually treating me like a queen, and I don't even know how to take it because I'm like, well, what's your angle?
Yeah.
There's an angle. I'm like, well, why are you giving me flowers? Well, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Like, are there actually good people left in this world? I'm confused.
Yeah.
It's like crazy.
It is. It is. And that's where like stepping into the feminine energy and the feminine archetype is leaning back and trusting, oh, okay, like I'm going to trust this move. I'm going to trust this move. I'm going to trust this move. And that's where like one of the biggest things that I've had to heal is trusting the masculine. I had a lot of distrust in the masculine. So what it looks like whenever you distrust the masculine, it's not only in just men in general, but I mean, it's not trusting money. It's not trusting life. It's not trusting source creator God. It's not trusting your ability to have an amazing relationship and an amazing partnership with somebody. So it's like a full, not ricochets, but it ripples throughout your whole entire life. And you can see the tentacles of not trusting the masculine in other areas of your life. And so one of the most important things that women can heal is her trust in the masculine.
Yeah.
Yep. On point, girlfriend.
I can attest to that from the male point of view. That is the biggest obstacle I have to get past. Of like, you know, like, is this guy full of shit or not? Like, that's the way they're looking at me. Am I safe with him? Is he for real, or is he just trying to fucking gaslight, manipulate, placate me? All those kind of things, you know. And it's a lot of work to I don't know, like have somebody trust you. That's all. I'm not even convinced them, because that would almost seem manipulative in its own way. It's like it has to be very free flowing. And unfortunately, I mean, fortunately or unfortunately, however you look at it, it's kind of a process that just only takes place over a little bit of time. No, it's not a weekend process. It's definitely like a few weeks, and then, the woman will eventually be like, oh, this guy is for real. Like BA saying, like, why are you fucking giving me flowers, bro? Like, what do you want? But trust, that's a huge part of it. It's huge.
I know. Yeah. And so as a feminine, the work is not just learning how to lean back. It's also learning how to trust.
Yeah.
Trusting in God. That was one of my biggest, because I had a lot of religious programming. So how we often see our own father is how we see God. So if we have a father we can't trust, or that was hard to predict how he was going to act or feel or treat you. Let's say your father had a short fuse and it was scary when you were a child and wasn't approachable. You automatically think, God's not approachable. He's scary. I can't trust God. I'm going to try to do it myself. And so then the feminine archetype starts to take on all this masculine tendency. It starts to take on all this masculine burden of providing for herself, So what happens, like when a woman can't trust the masculine, most of those women are single. This is why I've had to, I have been I was married for a while, but I have been single for a long time because I couldn't trust the masculine. So not only did I have my experience with my dad, and my dad is a great guy and he has healed a lot, but 0 to 10 years old, he wasn't. And that's the formative years. And so then I, had this marriage for 6 years where I was abused for 6 years. I get out of that and I'm in my twin flame where it's just more and more and more abuse and more stuff I can't trust and just assholes and dickheads and all of this stuff. And I'm oh my God, let me just know for a while and just work on me. And then whenever I started working on me, and here's the thing that I also want to make a point on, is that for a long time, I was in this mentality of I have to fix me because there's something wrong with me. And I have shifted that mentality now to there's nothing wrong with me. I don't have to fix anything. I'm just elevating. I'm elevating myself. I'm making myself better. And so one of the areas that I have really been focused on, because my money was a shit show and it was all connected to this masculine, not trusting God.
Yep.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. And so I have had to heal, oh my God, so many layers of, and having my own business as well has forced me into the healing on a level that I had no idea. I did not see it coming. But I, in 2018, there were times where I was in a fetal position on the floor, crying my eyes out, how I'm going to pay my rent, so much healing had to take place because I did not trust. And I saw over and over and over again how God provided. And yet I still would not trust. I mean, it was brutal, breaking me down to get me to trust in the masculine and in source. So
it's a lot. It's a lot. That's all I can say. I agree. It's a lot. It's a lot to, after you've been through a lot of mental abuse, it's really hard to get out of that and trust in there's still good people in this world. It's hard. But it might never go away. Some people, it may never go away. I still have my issues with even just friendships. I have an issue with trying to make friends. I've made more friends online that I've never even met before. Taylor is a prime example. I mean, I did book a ticket. So Sarah and I go to LA. Woo! So we're finally gonna meet, you know what I mean? So but it took a long time to get to where I can actually trust certain people in my life because I've been screwed over so many times. And I'm not blaming the other people. I'm not here to do that. But I mean, really though, when I think back of the things that have happened, I'm I was so good to all these people, genuinely from my heart. I did everything, the shirt off your back comment, that was me. And I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
So the circle is very small.
It does get small.
Yeah, I had friends that I used to describe as I would have given them the shirt off my back and they would have lost it and said I never gave it to them.
Yeah.
That's how it felt. It's just like it was like a fucking black hole, just black holes everywhere, you know. And I went through that a lot when I was going through my autoimmune disease, which Jen, that's like a whole nother thing. You and I could talk about it if you want to. But you don't have to either. Autoimmune disease, divorce, all that stuff. Like, it's like who was there when the chips were down, when it wasn't fucking sexy or cool to be my friend, you know. And that's like when I'm living at my mom's house, when I'm mentally not okay. And I don't even blame a lot of people for not being there, because the truth is I was pushing people away out of my own shame, fear, embarrassment, whatever it was. But those are the moments where friends kind of have to fight a little bit to stay in your life because of the trauma that you are going through. And I think, I almost feel like I can speak for the three of us. And I would say, like, if we had any friends that were going through it, whatever it is, fill in the blank, they were going through it, I feel like all three of us would fight to be there for them, because we'd recognize it, we'd feel it, we'd understand it. But there's so many people who are like, oh, this is the time where I peace out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I have always had is girlfriends. Like, I've always been able to maintain, and I've lived in so many different places. So I have girlfriends all over the country, and like, I still am in touch with them, So that's one thing that I've always had. It's just like my relationships with men have suffered a lot because of not being able to trust. So.
Yeah. So for you, it's mostly men. It's not friends too.
No, it's not friends.
Yeah. I think BA and I have had friends and opposite sex disappointments in our life.
Yeah.
Just like out of the clear blue, like you think things are going good, you're there for your friends, and then all of a sudden it's just like they're like gone and there's no explanation. It's weird.
Yeah. When you're on your ascension journey, you do leave people behind. And so I was aware that there would be people that would, may leave my field and not be the same, but there was never a falling out. It was always just like an evolutional gravitatory thing where we just gravitated away from one another.
Yeah.
Just because of, I, doing weird shit and taking ayahuasca and like doing like plant medicines. And then they're like still Jesus thumping, and there's nothing wrong with Jesus at all. I was raised in that. And, and I still go to church because I get a lot of food from that. But I also have my own, I guess I have my own way of being with God and religion and incorporating it based upon all of my life experiences together. It's not just going to church and reading the Bible and this is how it is. It's like, well, I've had this experience and I've had this experience and I've gone here and I've gone there, and I'm pulling from all of these experiences and esoteric practices and going, this is what works for me.
Yeah. Jenn, I know you fairly well, however it is, but I actually don't know how deep into the occult you go with your spiritual practice. If you want to talk about that, like astrology, tarot reading, ritual magic, how deep do you use that in your spiritual architecture work?
Yeah, okay, so the main energetic work that I do is moving energy in the body. So it's like creating designs for the body. And it's literally like waving my hands and waving energy and speaking it into the field. I'm putting it into the body.
Yeah.
And so that is how I actually heal. And it's very profound. I sing. One of the things I'm going to be ordering soon are the sound bowls so that I can also do the sound bowls and tone. And so that is the practices that is a regular basis practice. I've done all kinds of different things, I've done plenty of ayahuasca ceremonies to try to open up my third eye. And I'm like, you know what? This doesn't work for me anymore. I don't want to do this. And, I stopped doing it a couple of years ago. It just didn't it didn't ring true for me anymore. It didn't serve me. It was just like, okay, that's a phase and I'm done with it. I don't need psychedelics to reach God. So I let the psychedelics go. There's like some little practices in sex magic, but not a whole lot. I'm very, 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 very careful with my energy and opening up my energy and opening up portals. So as a very sensitive being, I just am very mindful of that. So
BA wants you to dive a little more into the sex magic.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I can read her mind. Her and I are psychically connected.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the sex magic, I use, crystals in my yoni eggs, crystals, that kind of thing to call in power to myself.
Yeah.
I put crystals at my woo-ha?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, smooth ones.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't mind the jagged ones either. You know what I mean?
No, the jade eggs and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I use that practice. I do a lot of like self-pleasure to bring pleasure into the body. So that, I mean, because here's the thing, it's like, if you know what pleases you without a partner, then you can guide your partner to what pleases you. Yep. And then when you can guide your partner to what pleases you, then both of you are pleased. But so many women are like, ew, I don't want to do that. I don't want to touch that. I don't want to like go there. Like, I want just, the sex and that's it. And if you don't know what pleases you, how do you know how to be multi-orgasmic if you're not like super in tune with your body? So I'm super in tune with my body. Yeah. And that's the work that I do.
These are probably the same women that are controlled by what the government tells them. I can't.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, a huge part of sex magic that I do too is like intention setting and all that through sexual
really,
practice.
Taylor?
Yeah, really. Yeah.
More.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so as part of you working with crystal energy, are you also trying to set intentions and do manifestations and things like that?
Yeah. So the idea with sex magic and bringing the energy through the sexual channel is to make sure that your heart is very open. Mm-hmm. And so the idea is to bring the energy from the root and the sacral up the canal to stop here in the heart. Yeah. And then feel with intention what it is that you desire and what it is that you're feeling and experiencing from this place, from the heart. And see, in the Taoist philosophy around sexuality, the positive charge is the breast, and the negative charge is the yoni. On the men, it's the opposite. So when you come together, you have a negative and positive charge like this. Right, exactly. So the circle, the orbit, the circle, microcosmic orbit. So it's like the energy, the microcosmic orbit, you want to take that energy up the spine through conscious breath as you're like coming to climax. As you're coming to climax, you put it in your heart and then you release it and let it go. And you let the orgasm go when your energy is at your heart space, not in your mind and not in your lower space. Like if you're creating and you're keeping all of your energy in your yoni, your sacral, and your solar plexus, you're keeping all the energy in the lower three chakras, obviously, where you're like, it's less of a conscious creation. But if you bring the energy up to the heart, then you're consciously creating. So if you're creating money from the sexual magic, then you put it into the heart, and then you're expanding and creating from the heart. That's the idea. That's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Taylor, are you taking notes right now so I can circle back after this? Okay.
Yeah. BA is gonna watch this podcast on YouTube.
I am. I'm ready to manifest, baby.
Oh my god! I think you should just book a session with Jenn. Honestly.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
move that energy up to the heart and let it go. And like with men, I mean, I don't know how into semen retention you are. Like Taylor, have you heard of that? Do you know about
I've
that?
heard a lot about it, and I've tried, but you know, I've met that concept halfway. So on good days, you know, when you just kind of have all day lying around, whatever you want to call it, you know, I do like to wait. I like to do it multiple times and then wait until the very end and only climax one time.
Okay.
And I know semen retention in Tantra and all that. I know they talk about, I haven't ejaculated in 3 years. Not for me. You know, like, and I'm not in a Himalayan mountain or anything like that. And maybe that is the right way. But personally, I think at the end of the day, after multiple times, I have noticed a huge kind of heart chakra type release where it just feels like a lot of energy from the base levels have flowed up and really have kind of culminated into something spiritual. But that's as far as I've gone so far. So I'm open to it, but I haven't gone beyond that.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed too, as I have progressed in my awakening and opening, is that feeling it more in my heart. Like, whereas used to, I couldn't even bring it up to my heart, even though I would be conscious of, I'm trying to bring it into my heart. But because my heart is so much more open, I do a lot of heart coherence work. So the heart brain coherence. And so I sit in gratitude, like this is outside of sexual practice, but I just sit in gratitude, you know, for 15 or 20 minutes, and I feel it into my heart, and I breathe deeply into my belly and into my body. And so that creates what's called heart brain coherence. And in heart brain coherence, that's whenever you start to manifest and you expand your arc field. So you have this massive arc field around you. And when your heart and your brain is in coherence, you start to expand that field. And through that field expansion, that's where you start to draw in and create what it is you want. So when you have heart brain coherence and you have an open heart, and then you start to practice sexual magic, you bring that energy into the heart space, like it just starts to create miracles for you.
Yeah.
Whoa.
We almost let Jenn go through this. We almost let Jenn go through this whole podcast without talking about sex magic.
I could listen to her all day.
I know, right? I mean, let's do the sequel and let's go. Hey, Jenn, sex magic practitioner, go.
I know, right?
Exactly. We're gonna start off next time with her. Just
right.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's an hour already, and we're like,
I know. Yeah. I mean, actually, this is probably, this has been so good. This is probably where we should wrap up anyway, because I'm like, I'm really excited on this episode.
I know, guys. I'm sorry. I gotta go.
Yeah. I think Dave's going to go to the crystal room.
I gotta go get my yoni cleaned.
Make the fucking yoni swoon.
Yeah.
Woo!
Oh, I love it. Okay, well, Jenn, just pitch yourself, everything you got, IG, how do we book you? Just tell everything.
Yeah. So the best way to find me is on IG, Jenn Edwards Official. It's JENN Edwards Official. And then from there, there's a link in my bio. It's one of those, link trees. So it's like got multiple links. So from that link, you can contact me for any of the programs that I'm doing. I'm currently enrolling for the pattern, and that is a 6-week course taking you through how to clear up patterns, how to clear up things in your life, and how to just literally re-edit the things that are happening. I mean, my word for this year is wealthy. So I want to be a wealthy woman. And it's a big word.
I think that's mine and BA's word too.
I am healthy. I am wealthy. Was this?
Yes.
Exactly.
I could do a whole podcast on this, because to me, wealthy isn't just about money in the bank. It is truly about this embodiment of this woman who owns herself, this woman who declares herself, declares her desires, who knows she's worthy of them, is not fucking around anymore. She's just living her best life. And she's traveling. She's like one of the things, I don't get my nails done, I need to get my fucking nails done on a regular basis. Let's just do it,
eyelashes.
What?
You badass lashes?
I know, I need badass lashes too. Like, you know, like I never do anything, like doing stuff with my appearance and like just showing up so much differently than how I've been showing up. Like I've been showing up as like, this woe is me. And I'm just done with that. So
we're done with that. We're leaving that in last year, whatever year it was last year, 2020. We're done with that.
We
2021,
are.
but yeah, it's not gender.
We're leaving it. Whatever. All right. Whatever year we're in. Time's an illusion. Everything. All right, Taylor. Shut your mouth.
Yeah, fucking 2000 late. It's not gender exclusive either, because I identify with what Jen's saying too.
Yeah. So anyway, this is the pattern is my 6-week course, and it's going to be all dedicated to how do you be this person that you came here to be? How do you want to show up? And let's show up as this person. And let's start to extract all the stuff that's blocking you from being that person. And that's what I take you through. Is that journey.
I love it.
I love it. She's a bad bitch. We love bad bitches on this show.
I love it.
Agreed. You know, and I mean, on that note, Jenna, we should do another episode on wealth and just, I mean, I feel like everything with you, there's just so many things to keep unpacking that an hour is just not long enough. So thank you so much for being here. I love this episode. I'll see you guys all soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.